All right, this is the highlights from GreatStockPicks.com, Tuesday's trading, April 24th. I'm going to start making some changes in the room this morning. I kind of started giving everybody a preview of what I want to do. So each morning I'm going to try to come up with at least one. Now, there may be mornings where that doesn't happen. I'm going to try to come up with at least one aggressive trade for aggressive traders. BHI made my radar today because of the gap up here. These are 5-minute candles. If you switch to the daily, you can see it was gapping up about 3 weeks worth of trading. And look at the volume. See what it looked like there? I mean, huge volume, almost 1 million shares in the first 5 minutes right off the bat. So what did I do? I turned it on the projector for everybody, switched to 2-minute candles, and after it hit an early high here 4 minutes in, it started to come down. Actually took out the low of the day, put in a nice little stair step on 2-minute candles. I was projecting this for everybody and said the idea would be, now I'm going to be clear, I was hesitant. I wasn't going to make this an official call. I said this is kind of my practice round for aggressive trades. Not just that, but there was all kinds of economic data coming out at 10 o'clock. So I was really kind of wanting to stay on the sidelines for the first 30 minutes, keep people safe. But I said for aggressive traders, the way I would play this, first break of a previous 2-minute candles high. The reason I say that way I would play this is because I didn't play it. Put the idea out there, though. So you had a nice little narrow green candle. When it looked like this, I said I don't really like it because you've got this long candle. If you're going to buy the first break of a previous 2-minute candles high and your stop goes below the previous 2-minute candles low, your stop's going to be pretty far from your entry. But then look what happens. Then it put in this narrow one, so it looked good. And I told people, hey, this is a better risk reward than it was. You're talking about 43.05, 42.79 trigger and stop respectively, which is exactly what I said. And boom, there's the trigger. Look what happens. Goes up to from 43.05 pretty quickly to 43.31. Basis for a little bit, and then it was off to the races. Just kept climbing. I'll switch to 5s now. So from 43.05, it ends up making it to, where is it? I have it in my notes. I could just show you right here. From 43.05, it ended up making it to 44.35. So again, wasn't an official call. It was an aggressive trade. Worked like a charm, and I know some people in the room that did very well in it. Okay, now for my official calls, let's see, I called something in Polycom, but I canceled it. It didn't trigger. Okay, United Airlines was my first official call. UAL again was strong out of the gate and then started to pull back. I became interested in it. One of our members actually pointed this out to me, and so I started looking at it. Became interested in it when it got down here near the 20. But I said I would suspect that this will probably go down below 23, take out some 23 stops. So I switched to 2-minute candles. And I gave a couple ideas. And this is something I'm also experimenting with. I said you could take it over this candle, 22.94 with a 22.88 stop. That's 6 cents risk. That's what I did. Look what happens. Well, let me just say my other idea first. My other idea was to take it there and just use an arbitrary 20-cent stop, 20 cents below, to give it some wiggle room, and look what happens. So it triggered, stops me out, but again, it was, 6 cents? The 20-cent stop held, and, it moved to 23.15. Certainly still nothing to brag about, but another argument for what my new arbitrary 20-cent stop when I am buying a pullback like UAL, that's an argument for something. You'll probably see that in the future on our results page. You'll probably see the comment on a lot of my ideas. It'll probably say stop was 20 cents below and never got hit on my results page because, well, assuming it doesn't get hit, because I'm probably going to start just looking for setups with the 20-cent arbitrary stop versus basing them on candlesticks, because I'm telling you, these HFTs, market makers and specialists, they're all out there to get your money. And you take this long right here, look what happens. They come right down, take out the obvious stops right there, and then it doesn't really look back for the next 20 minutes or so. See it all the time. Okay, so anyway, that was my UAL was my first call. ARMH was my second call. I gave a verbal idea in ARMH when it looked about like this, not exactly, of 25.38 with a low of day stop. It was actually after the next candle started, so it was on its way back up. You can see it went down and was headed back up. My idea was 25.38 with a low of day stop. And my secondary idea, I gave a couple different entry ideas, was over this red candle at 25.49. So some people might have taken my idea 25.38 and others 25.49. So a couple different entry ideas. Both of them had a low of day stop. And from either one of those entries, it went to 25.84. Again, nothing to brag about, but a nice little trade in this area. You see this little spike of green candles. Our members were riding that up and selling into it. So it was a counter trend play. Wasn't something I expected to last all day. We usually sell when we get up near these falling moving averages on these ideas, but still, put some money in our pockets. What was my other call today? Oh, Walmart, again with a 20-cent stop. Walmart actually, and I'm going to show you a couple calls by two of our all-stars in there today. Big, one of our members, also shorted this and did really well. I don't know where he shorted it. I'll show you some screenshots later in the video of a couple of our all-stars and their actual calls today. But I never did get a chance to capture Big's short idea in Walmart, so I don't know exactly where it was, but I can tell you he did very well shorting this. And it was certainly a stock to be shorting. Now, late in the day, when it got to looking like this, I called a long at 57.78, right down in here, and big deal. And my stop, again, see these blue lines? I actually put a blue line where my entry idea was, and then another blue line where my stop was. So that's that 20-cent stop idea again. And in here, if you notice, it triggered, went up a little bit, came down, took out the low of the day. These are the HFTs and or specialists, market makers taking out stops, and then it bounced again. Now, this certainly isn't a great example of a huge bounce, but you can see that the stop held, and I made a little bit of money on it. Okay, but I do love the idea of the 20-cent stop on certain types of plays that we're teaching. That might be it for my calls. Okay, now to a couple of our all-stars. Let's see, R. Brown here. And this, I took a screenshot of his exact call. Now, all of our members are in black font. They can't even change it if they want to, except for our all-stars can choose different colors. R. Brown has chosen brown. I guess that makes sense, right? MMI, this is how he wrote it out, greater than or equal to, which basically means over 76, could run to 88 or above. Okay, now let's look at MMI. Let me try that again. Okay, MMI looked like this. Remember, his idea was 76. So it looked like this when he called it. Basically, if it got to 77, when it looked like this is when he called it. 77 meaning 37.77, and your stop would go below this candle here at 37.71. He didn't type out the stop, but we teach our members, your stop, you can either do the arbitrary 20-cent, and you always want your position size to be based on which one you're going to choose, or your stop would go below this candle. So in other words, if it gets up here to 37.77, stop goes below this candle, 37.71. Look what happens. Pretty quick pop. A little bit of indecisiveness, and then off to the races. So this took about 15 minutes, and you had to move from 37.77 to 38.45 in about 15 minutes on 6 cents risk. Hats off to R. Brown. That's a beautiful call. And then, give me a second. Mo made a call this morning. Mo's was a little shorter to the point. He just said in ANR at 10:04 this morning. Now, he may have, and again, I didn't capture the screenshot, he may have said before that time that he was stalking ANR, okay? But I believe, and I'm not trying to be misleading, I believe his entry was around 1609, and I do think he gave some warning posts. So anytime, when we teach our members, anytime you take an entry, so if they wanted to follow Mo, and even if they had some slippage, 1610, 1612, whatever, your stop is always going to go below that trigger candle, okay? Or below the recent lows. So on Mo's idea, it's not like our members are in the dark, where they knew if they followed him 1609, stop's going to go, down below this candle, probably worst case 1597. So about 12 cents risk, and from 1609, never did stop out and went all the way to 1686. So again, hats off to Mo. Apologies to Big, I didn't catch your short idea, and again, I owe apologies to R. Brown because he had 3 or 4 different big calls in there today, and the only one I happened to capture on the screenshot was the MMI one. So good stuff in there today. We're working on a lot of stuff in there, so I'm still in transition, coming up with new ideas to adapt to the new market. I'm doing a lot more bidding or looking for stocks to fall to an area, whereas I used to always be a momentum trader, taking it based on candlesticks. If this one breaks this one's high, I'm in, and so on. Those don't work as well now. So as always, anytime something works great in the market, you keep doing it and you keep doing it until it doesn't work. Okay, you have to adapt. HFTs, high frequency trading computers, have changed a lot, have changed the market a lot, I should say. So I'm a bigger fan of now bidding into pullbacks at certain areas, and I'm teaching our members slowly as I'm tweaking my ideas, and I think you'll see a lot more of that in the follow-up videos going forward. All right, I'm not going to babble any further. A pretty good day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.